Well, it's going to be a make or break year for a lot of quarterbacks, it sounds like. And I'm wondering if there are some less mentioned quarterbacks that might also end up changing jobs next year. Not changing to being like, real estate, but changing locations. So, what I want to get into today is some crazy takes of these 5 quarterbacks that might be going into last year's that we might not have been thinking about. Some of these have been mentioned, but some of them haven't. And I want to use the Grade My Crazy graph to do so. So here are the 5 names: Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. I didn't want to spell out his whole last name. And then Jared Goff. Before we get into that, though, real quick description of the idea. So this is Grade My Crazy, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a grade on each one of these. We're suggesting that this quarterback, after this season, after the 2025 season, will end his contract, even though it theoretically goes through the next, through the following season, that we're going to end it in this hypothetical, and that he's going to move on to somewhere else. Which guy is the craziest one to suggest that? A is the craziest person to suggest. Jared Goff has had a great year. So not to suggest that he's going to go somewhere else or what have you. F is, that guy's totally going to be on a different team come 2027. 6, the other one. And so that's what we're looking at here today. While Michael's gathering his final thoughts, I want to do a quick thank you, though, to everyone who subscribed to the video, or to the channel, rather. We're trying to get to 100 by the start of the 2025 season. We're still about 85 days away, I believe. We're having a lot of fun making these. So big thank you to everyone who's already clicked. If anyone new finds this, we'd love it if you'd subscribe and tell us what you think of these ideas. I'm sorry if I'm insulting one of your quarterbacks. My quarterback's the top one on the list. So I'm right there with you. I'm kind of insulted by myself. So you've had enough time to think. Let me know what you think of these takes. In whatever order makes you happy, go.
Man, I find this list to be challenging because I do think there's scenarios in which any of these quarterbacks could end up in that scenario. So I've been trying to just find the top or the bottom, like, which one is the most obvious and which one's the least obvious. I mean, on many levels, I got to say that I think Jared Goff, to me, I would think of as the one who should be the most stable. But I don't know that for sure. But I would think that he is, in my mind, the F. He is the least likely to change teams especially probably under those kind of circumstances. I would think. I think they're a good team. I think that they're hopefully getting stronger, although they have had some line challenges come up, but they seem to handle challenges. So I don't know. I think he's the one I think would be the least likely to move, the most likely to stay where he is. Okay, man, that was challenging. Okay,
we'll get there.
Let's see on the top part where it's like, man, who is most likely to move or change? In a lot of ways, I kind of feel like, depending upon their performance this season, of course, Trevor Lawrence could be in that boat. I think Tua, for me, is kind of up there as well. I wonder if he would be the one to kind of willingly try to jump, or whether he would get more pushed in that direction. They're both good quarterbacks, I think, in a lot of ways, and I think they would get picked up or be able to drive towards another team. So I think I'll go that route. I think I'll say Trevor Lawrence, again, depending upon what their team does and how they do it this year. I could see him potentially saying, "Hey, let me jump teams here." So I'll make him my A, and Tua the B. If there's any faith lost on that team, I could see him taking that as a sign that maybe I should be looking at other opportunities. And I think there are other teams who would say, hey, come here. He's really good when he's working.
Hang on. Yeah, you've got me all mixed up.
Hold on. Let's make sure we're on the same page.
Jared Goff is the one that's safest, so it's the craziest thing to suggest that he would move. It's most likely that Trevor Lawrence would. We're going to have to come up with a new format. I'm messing myself up now. Okay.
I just
All
think
right.
we need to keep up with adding double and triple negatives to
Yes.
continue to make
That's
this
what I'm
sound crazy. I think what we've established is we're the ones who are crazy.
I get an F in graph making and description,
No,
or
it's all good.
an A, depending on whichever way that works.
So okay, so if Jared Goff is again, it would be craziest for him to move.
Yes.
And the current way that they're built and the way they're running, man, I think these are kind of a toss up. I would say for me, these are very close.
Yeah.
I'll, for the sake of argument, I'll say that Kyler Murray jumping, I think, would be slightly crazier. So he would be the B than Justin Herbert, but I don't think it's by much. So I think that's the way I would go. I think Jared would be crazy to go. Given what things look like currently, he's in a great program with great coaching, a lot of other good support there. Some of it really young, which is good for the future. Kyler, similarly, I think there's a lot of positive things going there. And I think that could all get solidified. I expect to kind of see a number of those things solidify this year. I think he'll be happy there. Justin Herbert as well. I think he just got some young pieces in place that he's going to enjoy. He just needs to continue to perform. And then Tua and Trevor, I think that's a considerable possibility. So, yeah. What about you? How did you, when you looked at this, how did you have these kind of set up? Where would you be on these?
Well, first, my apologies for messing up the grading so bad. But in a way, this kind of makes sense because now it looks like you're grading the quarterbacks. And it almost makes sense on some weird scale. But yeah, so when I looked this up and I went through all these guys, I first wanted to go through and make sure. I was like, are these guys even like remotely possible to move off of it? And they are. There are scenarios where you could move off of all of them. Some of them, it's far more reasonable if there's a trade partner they can find. But yeah. I mean, you can get most of them down to like $30 million or less in dead cap for next season. So, after the 25 season, to clarify once more. Yeah. My scenario for Kyler, if I might switch him with Justin Herbert here. I might make him kind of in the middle.
Sure.
Because I think that if he gets hurt, I think that that's another scenario where, because that'll be, okay, you just missed 4 seasons of your 7 years, or you missed time in 4 seasons out of your 7 seasons. And I was just like, I think that's too much. Also, you're getting, it's weird, but he's getting closer to 30, and that the rate's not liable to decline anytime soon. So sadly, there are guys that are just injury prone, and that would concern me, even as a Cardinals fan. So he's playing against that. And on top of that, if he had 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. And I think that if you changed it and you added 3 and subtracted 3 from either side, it completely changes his season. Because if he has 29 and 8 next year, that's a pretty good season. But if you go the other way and he has 23 and 14, well, see you later, pal. Like it's so close that unless we win the Super Bowl and he has those numbers, in which case nobody really cares. But I do think that people have said it within the Cardinals community. It's a make or break year for him. Whereas if he has a great year, next year he could get an extension. But if he doesn't have a great year, next year he could get paid by some other team, which could be fun too for him. Justin Herbert, the idea there was more Jim Harbaugh didn't draft him. And I don't think Jim Harbaugh paid him either. It was a previous administration. So what if he just wants his guy? Now, I personally believe that he really likes Justin Herbert. I think Jim Harbaugh likes just about everyone. But I really think he likes Justin Herbert a lot and that he will mesh up well there, which is another reason why I would have him as the B, where it's just like, I think it's crazy to think he'd move off of him. But if he does have a bad year, then he is contractually in a position where they could move off of him. Trevor Lawrence, I go back and forth with this one with him and Tua. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great year, but it's going to be first year with this Liam Cohen guy, the guy from Tampa Bay, the Duval, that guy. And so I don't know if you've seen that clip of him doing that, but man, he's pretty cringe. But we'll see if he's a good coach. So he's got that first year. It didn't go great last year, but they did just give him Travis Hunter. He still has year 2 of Brian Thomas Jr. So I'm kind of optimistic. Ultimately, I should say short form. If I was being forced to say they're going to cut one of these guys next year, it would be that. It would be me being forced to. I don't actually think any of these guys are going anywhere.
Right.
And then Tua, they've been kind of declining. Some of their rosters getting older. Tyreek Hill's like 31 now.
Yeah.
It's starting to feel like their win now window's going down. And I think it's more than just Tua who's at risk here. I think their coach is at risk. And similar to Kyler, there's the injury concern. Like, this guy's starting to get hurt pretty regularly. And if they can't stay consistent, I mean, he needs to play 15 games this year, maybe 16 or 17 even, for me to start. And it not be a concussion. That's another thing.
Yes.
And so there's some added risk there, but he's clearly still got some juice. It's not that he's got all the will in the world. He's willing to get hit, maybe too willing to get hit, and so on. For Jared Goff, the concerns are the ones you mentioned. It's they lost their, I believe he's a center. I just forgot which position. It was Frank Ragnow, I believe, is their center. We're not sure if he was their Jason Kelsey or if he was just a really good center. Guess we'll find out. But he also lost OC and DC. You know, is Ben Johnson's now the coach of the Bears, and I lost his name. Yeah, it's gone. Their defensive coordinator is gone. He's the coach of the Jets. Aaron Glenn, I think is right. And so it's just a lot of changes. They're going to have a target on them now because they've been good for a couple of 3 years now. Everyone's going to give them their best shot, and we'll just see. If he falls much, then I could maybe revisiting this conversation. And for any of these guys, I'm also going to put this on it. Next year is perceived to be a good quarterback draft, kind of like the 2023 draft had so many really good quarterbacks. That's kind of what they're projecting for next year as well. So some teams may see an opportunity, but again, I don't think any of these guys are going anywhere. We should see them for 26 and beyond. I think it's more likely that some of them might get extended next year than some of them move on to other teams. But anyways, I've ranted long enough. So do you have any other thoughts on this list?
No, this was a really good one because like you said, there's reasons for yes and no's to each one. Some of them seem like a wide margin in a way, after Jared's last year and all that. But yeah, I think it's an interesting list. And like you already pointed out, I don't really see any of these guys really making that kind of change, but it's a fun exercise to go through to consider it and to really try to think through how that really plays out and how secure are they at these teams. So no, great list.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Sorry again. Even I don't know the grading system. We'll work on that. So
good.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We had fun, maybe too much fun. I should have been more focused on what I was supposed to be doing. One more time, I'll say we're trying to get some subscribers going here before the start of the season, trying to get to 100. Thanks if you do. And if not, hope you have a great week either way. We will see you around the next time.